3, 2, 1.
Hello and happy Friday. Today is March 22nd and my name is Maggie Kell.
And I'm Gabe Obermiller and you're watching another episode of Watching Washington. According to NPR News, the House voted overwhelmingly last Wednesday to approve a bipartisan bill that would require ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, to sell the social media app or face a ban on all U.S. devices. The vote was 352 to 65. The legislation's fate is unclear in the Senate. The top two lawmakers on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senators Marco Rubio and Mark Warner, released a joint statement praising the House bill and urging Senate action, but the timeline is unclear. Several lawmakers have suggested the Senate should hold hearings on the legislation before moving forward. The company stresses that it has established a data firewall by partnering with Austin-based software company Oracle, dubbed Project Texas. The new system routes all U.S. user traffic to Oracle, which now also controls the servers storing Americans' TikTok data. Still, the plan has not received the blessing from officials in Washington, who have said it falls short of a full breakup with ByteDance.
It's official. Donald Trump and Joe Biden will be the candidates for the Republican and Democratic parties, respectively. For Trump, it is his third consecutive election that he will be representing the Republican Party, while Biden will be running for re-election. President Trump clinched early on March 13th that with a trio wins in Georgia, Mississippi, and Washington state. It was announced a few hours earlier on the night of March 12th that Biden would be representing the Democratic Party. This will be the seventh time in U.S. history that there will be a presidential rematch, and it marks the first rematch since the 1956 election.
Well, former President Trump is having trouble securing a $464 million appeal bond in the fraud judgment against him and his sons. Monday, Trump's attorneys told a New York Court of Appeals that getting the bond is a, quote, practical impossibility. Trump's legal team says they have reached out to 30 underwriters to back the bond, but potential insurers are seeking cash to back the bond, not properties, according to Trump's lawyers. Trump is asking the court to delay posting bond until the appeal of the ruling is over. At present, the bond is due at the end of the month.
On Wednesday, the Environmental Protection Agency issued a new rule limiting tailpipe emissions in an effort to ensure a majority of new passenger cars sold in the U.S. are all electric or hybrid by the year 2022. The New York Times reports that the rule does not ban the sale of gas-powered cars. Rather, it increasingly limits the amount of pollution allowed by the tailpipes over time, pushing car makers to produce more zero-emission vehicles in order to meet the standards across their entire product line. The EPA estimates this new rule could avoid more than 7 billion tons of carbon dioxide emission over the next 30 years. More than 1 million electric vehicles were sold in the U.S. last year.
Well, on Monday, President Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for the first time in more than a month. The call came during rising tensions between the two leaders over the war between Israel and Hamas. According to the White House, the leaders discussed the importance of getting needed humanitarian aid into Gaza. The phone call follows Biden's support of a speech by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who called for new Israeli elections that could threaten Netanyahu's position. There are also plans of U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visiting the Middle East, where he is aiming to reach a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. According to Reuters, Blinken is to meet with senior leaders from Saudi Arabia and Egypt in hopes of, quote, discussing the right architecture for lasting regional peace.
Texas law enforcement can immediately begin enforcing a controversial law that allows them to arrest and detain people they suspect illegally entered the U.S. It also allows state judges to order immigrants to be deported. It came when the Supreme Court cleared the way for state officials to begin enforcing the law known as Senate Bill 4. That measure would allow authorities to arrest and detain people they suspect of entering the state illegally. Here is Laredo Police Chief Miguel Rodriguez Jr. about the matter.
Let me be very, very clear that this law can be applied during a lawful detention or an arrest. It can be just by seeing somebody and the officer thinking that he's not from here and then asking for documents. It doesn't work like that.
Critics say SB 4 could create racial profiling problems in a state where 40% of the population is Latino. Wednesday's hearing came after the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals blocked enforcement of SB 4 on Tuesday night, and that ruling came just hours after the Supreme Court cleared the way for the law to take effect. It's all part of the ongoing battle between Texas and the Biden administration over border policy and the flow of migrants into the U.S.
Yeah, that's right. The administration argues immigration policy has long been handled by the federal government, while Texas maintains it has the right to prosecute crimes involving illegal entry into the United States. Up next, Bernie Moreno is receiving support from former President Donald Trump in the Ohio primary.
Plus news on the Irish Prime Minister stepping down. Stay with us. More on Watching Washington next.
Hola from Spain.
G'day, mates.
Buenos dias.
Bonjour.
Hello from South Korea.
I'm studying abroad in Valencia, Spain this semester.
I'm studying abroad in Sydney, Australia.
I'm studying abroad in Madrid, Spain.
Studying at Seoul National University.
At Lycée Supérieur in Toulouse, France.
And I'm really getting to enjoy meeting all the new people and the culture.
How different it is from Purdue University.
It is an absolutely fantastic experience.
I'm living my best life.
I can't wait to see you guys all overseas soon. A bientôt.
Adios.
Nos vemos de España.
The Federal Reserve is predicting it will lower interest rates 3 times this year. That's in line with the central bank's earlier predictions.
But in Wednesday's closely watched meeting, the Fed held interest rates at its current 23-year high. That's because inflation hasn't come down to the level regulators have targeted. But Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says a robust economy powered by consumer spending is helping counterbalance that.
The economy has made considerable progress toward our dual mandate objectives. Inflation has eased substantially, while the labor market has remained strong. And that is very good news. But inflation is still too high, ongoing progress in bringing it down is not assured, and the path forward is uncertain.
Stocks jumped after Powell's comments. Also, the Fed is now predicting gross domestic product will expand at a rate of 2.1% this year. That's about 50% higher than the 1.4% rate the bank forecast in December. Right now, the economy is chugging along a 3.2%, which is also higher than earlier predictions.
Well, Bernie Moreno is set to win the Republican Senate primary in Ohio. Former President Donald Trump supported the businessman in a 3-way race. Coming up in the fall election, Moreno will face Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown. Tuesday's GOP primary showed as an assessment of Trump's influence in a Senate race. Back in December, the former president showed his support for Moreno and also made a last-minute trip to Ohio to help the candidate push to victory. Moreno states he wants to thank Trump for all he has done for him in his campaign.
In an unprecedented move, Iraq has banned the activities of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, leading further credence to expectations that a fresh war in the region is imminent. Turkey has long urged the Iraqi government to declare the PKK a terrorist organization and support its cross-borders operation. On the other hand, Iraq has historically opposed Turkey's operation within Iraq's borders, calling them a, quote, violation of Iraq's territorial integrity, end quote. Now, Iraq's National Security Council announced without parliamentary approval on Thursday that the PKK would be banned from operating in the country, following a high-level security meeting with a Turkish delegation in Baghdad. This announcement precedes the development road project that Iraq eagerly seeks to accomplish. This ambitious initiative aims to establish a trade route connecting the Gulf to Europe through Turkey. However, the Turkish government appears to have devised a strategy to condition the project's success on the resolution of the PKK issue and the creation of a security zone, thereby expanding its hard power across northwestern Iraq, including the regions of Duhok, Mosul, and Erbil. The Iraqi government seems increasingly amenable to such a move, raising questions about the underlying motivations.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has won yet another term, making this his 5th term in office. The goal of the Kremlin was to secure a victory for Putin to reinforce the perception that the Russian population supports Putin's actions, specifically his involvement in the war between Ukraine. Putin has stated, quote, "I am convinced that you understand what a difficult period our country is going through now, what difficult challenges we face in almost all spheres. And in order to continue to respond to them with dignity and successfully overcome difficulties, we continue to need to be united and self-confident," end quote. The president had repeated this message after polls were closed.
In news from across the pond, Leo Varadkar is stepping down as Ireland's Prime Minister. Varadkar made history as the first biracial leader and the first out gay leader in his country's history.
My reasons for stepping down are both personal and political. I believe this government can be re-elected, and I believe my party, Fine Gael, can gain seats in the next Dáil. Most of all, I believe the re-election of this three-party government would be the right thing for the future of our country, continuing to take us forward, protecting all that's been achieved and building on it. But after careful consideration and some soul-searching, I believe that a new Taoiseach and a new leader will be better placed than me to achieve that, to renew and strengthen the team, to focus our message and policies, to drive implementation. And after 7 years in office, I don't feel I'm the best person for that job anymore.
Earlier this month, voters rejected the government's position in referendums on 2 constitutional amendments. These changes, backed by Varadkar, would have broadened the definition of family and removed language about a woman's role in the home. Even with this recent loss, Varadkar's my fault. Resignation. Yeah. Got it.
All right, ready in 3, 2, 1.
Earlier this month, voters rejected the government's position in referendums on 2 constitutional amendments. These changes, backed by Varadkar, would have broadened the definition of family and removed language about a woman's role in the home. Even with this recent loss, Varadkar's resignation was widely unexpected. According to AP News, the current Deputy Prime Minister, Michael Martin, was surprised after being told.
The federal government faces a potential shutdown this weekend despite a bipartisan budget deal. Time is the critical factor, with hurdles needing to be overcome by the end of today. While the package has enough support to eventually pass, opposing lawmakers can delay the process. In the House, expediting via suspension of the rules requires a supermajority, while in the Senate, a swift, unanimous consent vote fails if a single objection is raised.
This funding agreement between the White House and congressional leaders is good news that comes in the nick of time. When passed, it will extinguish any more shutdown threats for the rest of the fiscal year. It will avoid the scythe of budget sequestration, and it will keep the government open without cuts or poison pill riders. It's now the job of the House Republican leadership to move this package ASAP.
Our in-studio guest this week is a commissioner from Benton County, here to discuss the topic of carbon dioxide storage.
The full interview just ahead on Watching Washington.
I'm Rachel. I'm 19 years old. I'm a sophomore in computer engineering here at Purdue, and I'm the president of DAO. So DAO stands for Dance All Out, and it's kind of like a community where all dancers of different skill levels and artists have a space to express themselves and be artists and perform. We perform at things like the AAA Night Market and the VA, the Variation Showcase, at the end of the semester. We even had our own showcase last year, and that was really exciting. DAO not only offers like weekly classes and performance opportunities, but kind of like a really strong community / family to do it with. When people talk about college, or when you see in like coming of age movies, it's all about like the main character finding like the place where they belong, whether it's in school or like extracurricular or like with their friends or another hobby. But like this could be the place where you find like your coming of age moment, and like it could be the place where you discover like a big part of your life.
The Center for C-SPAN, which is this organization, the CCSC, what we do is we facilitate like a bunch of organizations, different programs for Brian Lamb, which is the founder of C-SPAN. Anyone can be part of CCSC, whether it be through our various internships, our competitions, just to be involved, even like our student community meetings that we have every week. Anyone can go, you don't have to be communications or poli-sci. You just meet so many people, the connections you make is kind of crazy, the range that CCSC has. So yeah, it's just provided me so many opportunities to like kind of achieve the goals I have personally and forward to like whatever career paths I choose.
We are energetic, we are motivating, and we are unique.
I don't think you can beat Quidditch.
Are you looking for a new hobby?
Or you want to have a fun evening with your friends?
Then come climb to new heights at the Co-Rec Climbing Wall.
We have a special guest with us in the studio this week.
That's right, Brian Barry is the Benton County Commissioner here with us to discuss a topic that his community has been facing. Let's go now to Watching Washington's Audrey Doyle, who is standing by with this week's interview.
Thank you. That's right. I've got Commissioner Brian Barry with me today to discuss the topic of carbon dioxide storage in a local community. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My first question, could you explain the situation going on currently with Benton County and carbon dioxide storage?
So in July of 22, the governor signed a bill for basically House Bill 1209, and it allows, that bill was specifically designed for BP to come in and do carbon sequestration. They've got 6 counties picked out, but we're going to talk about Benton County today because that's the one that's most important. So right now they're wanting to pump, they're looking for acreage, and in order for them to do the carbon sequestration the way they want to, they got to do it in 9 sections, which is about 5,700 acres. And out of those 5,700 acres, if they only get 70% of the landowners to sign up, they'll take their 30% minimum domain, and they'll have to participate. So right now, they've done their seismic testing, and they've got the results back from that. We're waiting to get those because we're going to get a third party to take a look at them to see if they find any faults in the earth compared to what BP is going to say. But their intentions are to pump 1 million ton a year to each site. They're wanting 5 to 6 sites. I think total around between 28 and 30,000 acres is what they want to get to do that. And it'll be 1 million tons at every site.
That's a lot.
That's a bunch.
So, why are you concerned, and why should our public be concerned?
It's all kind of new. I mean, there's ADM down at Decatur, Illinois. They did a pilot a few years ago, back in 2014, and now they've been approved to go full scale, but it's a lot smaller footprint than what BP's wanting to do. You know, they're wanting to go up there and not only bring it from their whiting facility up there, but all on the lake there where the steel plants are, and everybody, they want to bring everybody's carbon down here. And there's not enough true facts on it. We don't know, you know, the pipeline, if it breaks and that gas escapes, you know, it sucks the oxygen out of the air. So what are you going to do? Your car's not going to start. You're not going to be able to run. So they can't seem to answer the right questions about what happens if it gets in the water, what happens if it breaks, this and that. And the biggest issue is, you know, they're going to be clear up there in Lake County. We're clear down here in Benton County. Even if they got somebody around here, there's very little, the comparison of natural gas to compare to carbon pipelines, it's unbelievable. There's a lot more natural gas. This carbon thing is just getting started. But if you watch it all over the Midwest, everybody's pushing back on this and not wanting it.
Yeah.
So and there's just not enough, there's not enough facts to it, basically. And people are scared, and I don't blame them. I mean, you don't farm, you don't buy ground in order to pump carbon in. If it's not good enough for the air, how's it going to be good enough for the ground?
Yeah, and that's another thing. You're a member of Benton community, and you're also a farmer, and that would seem to have an effect on you if something were to go wrong. What would that look like?
We don't know. That's the biggest thing. It's scary.
Yeah.
You know, they, like I say, do that seismic testing to look for faults in the ground. We have earthquakes in Indiana and in Benton County. Sometimes you don't feel them, sometimes you do. But what happens if we do get an earthquake and that pipe breaks? Where's that gas going to go? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Is it going to go in the water? We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't want to know. We really don't want to know.
Yeah. So what feedback are you hearing from your constituents?
They don't want it. It was a little, at first, you know, the finger was getting pointed at us. We were getting the blame because people didn't understand. So there in July or June, we had decided to have a meeting and invite the public in and kind of explain it to them that, you know, our legislators did this to us. We didn't do it because we had no say on it. In Indiana, they got a thing called home rule, which allows us to be like an extension of the governor, where we can change statutes as long as we make them stiffer and not easier. Well, we're not even getting that option to do this here. They've made that decision. This is what you're going to do. You're going to have to live with it. And we're not. That's a big thing we're very unhappy with.
Yeah, very
no
understandable.
No say, no choice. And that's what the public's upset about. You know, why can't they make the decision? Why can't we make the decision as a local government?
Yeah. Do you know why Benton County was selected as a spot for the CO2 storage?
I do. The capacity is one of the highest underground. It's deeper. It's about 3,000 feet, and also it's got a thick cap over the top of it, and that's what they're looking for. Now, you know, we always tell them to take it up there and pump in Lake County, and they say, well, no, it's not fit. But you know, according to the information we got, is that it's not quite as deep, but the cap's thicker. So, you know, we keep saying just keep it up there where you're at and not down here. But the biggest issue is, you know, you get in Lake County, their population is 400,000 or 500,000 people. And, you know, poor old Benton County, all we got is 8,600.
Yeah.
Less people to affect.
Yeah, that's very true. So are you familiar with the LEAP project and the issue of pumping water from aquifers in northern Indiana to Boone County? And do you see similarities with this project?
Yeah, the state's involved.
Yeah. And
that's, you know, we signed a resolution there probably 3 weeks ago against the LEAP project. Mm-hmm. Mainly that Taze River runs through Benton County. The only town it really sets over top of it is Templeton. But you know, we irrigate, you know, we've got probably 14,000 head of cattle. I don't know how many pigs we got. But even if we lose that water, you know, how the cattle are going to get watered, how the pigs are going to get watered, how are you going to get your crop, and what's it going to do to subsoil moisture?
Yeah.
So you know, they've been flying. They were up there flying in the last month or so, And that's what they're doing. They're looking for aquifers now. Since the Taze isn't going to be big enough, or they say it's not going to be big enough to supply that 1 million gallons a day, or 10 million, whatever it is, I don't remember. Now they're looking for all our aquifers. And 14 different counties are looking to go into those, find those aquifers to help them come in and make that relief on the water.
Yeah.
Not relief for us, relief for Boone County.
Yeah. Could you describe BP or British Petroleum, how they fit into all of this? What's their role look like? And are there connections with the wind turbines?
So, yes and no. You got a minute?
Yeah.
So, but BP, that House Bill 1209 was developed just for them. You know, Farm Bureau made that statement to us that was developed for them to do that. Why they are so eager to take everybody's carbon and bring it down here and just not theirs is beyond me. Well, the reason is they're going to make money at it.
Yeah.
Make a lot of money at it. The correlation with the wind farms is that there is some correlation there, and I think it was more to knock us down to our knees, to just say, okay, yeah, we'll let the carbon sequestration come in, because they pulled a little trick on us through the federal government and lowered their assessed value on Fowler Ridge 1 by $168 million, which cost the taxpayers of Benton County about $2.1 million in tax revenue.
Wow.
So this is just my theory, is that they did that, and when we were sitting there talking to them about if they would be willing to just pay something, this and that, they knew that they were going to be back in a month to put boots on the ground to start knocking on doors about the carbon sequestration, but never said a word.
Yeah.
Never said a word. So, and my beliefs and most people's belief in the county is that, yeah, they did that thinking, hey, we're going to take that revenue away from them here, we'll give it back to them over here, and they'll take us with open arms.
Yeah.
And I told them no.
I've heard quite a few people have told them no.
Yeah.
So do you know where this process is now?
Yes, and like I say, seismic testing is done. They called, maybe a month ago, said they were going to go out and drill test wells on some landowners that were willing to let them just come in and drill to see what the ground looked like through core samples, that'd be my guess.
Yeah.
We never saw anybody out there. We don't know if it happened or not. I know they're having a tough time getting people signed up, and we want to continue for them to have a tough time getting people signed up. The only comment they made to us is said that when they get their maps out there, it looks like Swiss cheese. So that tells me they're not having a whole lot of luck getting signed up.
Yeah. So that is all the time we have for today. Thank you to our guest, Brian Berry, for joining us, and thank you for watching. We will see you next time on Watching Washington.
The program allows students to finish their bachelor's degree and also get an online master's degree that overlap during their last year at Purdue.
Students can more quickly work towards a graduate degree while concurrently starting their professional careers.
The online program allows them to kind of go at their own pace, and so they're not having to abide by the academic calendar.
And our goal is that this would make you even more compelling for your next opportunity in the workforce.
Baseball in general is just a fun group of guys that we're looking to play baseball at the next level, and it's a fun way to have some people come together and play a game we like. The guys that are a nice fit to the team as well as good at baseball. So that's really a big piece of the puzzle to joining the team, and you can get a lot of information just reaching out.